9th, 2021 to order. And I would like to get a motion to approve the minutes from our January 12th meeting.
And I'll move.
Mr. Waters.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please answer yes or no when your name is called. Mr. Waters.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hayes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, those minutes are approved. Thank you all. All right, next on our agenda is ordinance 2021-06, an ordinance to authorize an amendment to the budget ordinance 2020-20 as amended and appropriating $38,824.35 from the general fund. Mayor, you are the sponsor of the ordinance and you're on the meeting, so you have the floor.
Appreciate that. I'll be brief. Y'all have several items coming up here. As a lot of us heard in the past several months, that what voters want us to do was create an alternative position to the city administrator. The comments I heard right after that was restore the mayor's pay. And this is something that goes along with eliminating the city administrator's position. It's an effort to follow what voters have asked for. And thought I'd put this together and put it and take it to the board again as a reflection of what our voters have asked us to do.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. Hayes.
may I start off? Got a couple of questions and comments.
Yes, sir.
First, Mr. Mayor, I want to work with you. I want common ground. And related to the COO legislation, one of the things that was in there, Mayor, was approximately an $85,000 income for that position. And then what I've heard is that how that 85,000 was arrived at is we put together a potential costs for a CA, 145, along with the current mayor's salary, 43, and that 188,000 subtracted the mayor's pay of 103, and that left 85. Have you heard that, or do you think that that's, I guess my question is 188 between the two positions realistic?
I think so. I never proposed that the two salaries equate to a specific number.
Right.
And I think they're independent of each other. We don't do that with any other department, that
Right.
we combine salaries to equal a certain number.
But do you think that that is even realistic in the first place, a 188 for the two positions?
Again, we're doing what voters have asked us to do, is eliminate the city administrator and restore the salary of the mayor.
Do you support the COO legislation that we put together last month?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I want to find that right person and I want to pay them whatever you find out that we need to pay them. I don't know that 85,000 is realistic. And so that's what brings me to say, I wish you could hold off on this just a little while until we could find out what the COO job is probably going to cost. Just give us a little more time. I definitely want to work with you. I see area here where we can definitely make some compromises. You're still the CEO of the city. I just wish we could have a little more time to move forward with the hiring of that COO position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Mr. Waters, do you want to speak to this?
No comment. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else quickly so we move on? Okay, I do have a couple comments. I don't necessarily want to talk about the CA and the COO so much, but the CA and the COO pretty well are identical in job description. And that job description basically came from our charter, which is many of the things that the mayor was encumbered to do back before the CA and now before the COO comes on board have become those job duties. The mayor is still in charge of calling meetings, signing checks, appointing committees, and some of those things that were in their charter, but the bulk of those have rolled over to the COO. Or will roll over to COO. The interim CA is doing those now. So, but one kind of interchange with the other. So, I don't disagree totally, Mayor, with you that the voters have asked us to do a couple things, and one of them we are eliminating the CA position, but we have put the COO position in, and by doing that. We have to pay that person a comparable salary, and we know the bottom end of that is $85,000. I think the top end of that grade is somewhere around 120. I certainly hope that we can come in somewhere in the middle of that and get a quality person. But what I would recommend is that first of all, our finance committee, this was all in one ordinance. Our finance committee asked this to be sent to general committee for a recommendation. And I see Ms. Cunningham's on here. Along with, they moved some paving money to be voted on tonight, and Mr. Freeze, $8,000, I think, that he wanted. So they split that up and wanting a recommendation from us. And here's what I think does due diligence to this. I would think that we would want to see, being those duties have pretty well been assigned to the COO, I would think that we would want to see a list of duties that the mayor is supposed to perform. And we're talking about, and we're talking, just not Mayor Clary, we're talking out, when we did the CA ordinance, we were talking out for years to come.
Joe
So
is here sleeping.
I think we need to look at
Oh, here he comes.
what we would have in a job description for the mayor, since a lot of the stuff has been moved over to the COO, what that would entail under than supervising that person. And I really think that we should go through the process and look at who we're going to hire and how much we're going to pay them before we make a definitive decision on to how much to increase the mayor's salary, if at all. I won't say no, but if at all. So I got you, Mayor, just a second. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. And Jamie, go ahead. Mayor.
No, I was actually just waved at somebody walking by. I apologize.
Oh, okay. That's all right. It's all right. So in thinking about that, I agree with Jonathan. I think we're going to have to work with this and massage it a little bit and see what happens. I know Ms. Cunningham maybe want a little bit more of a solid recommendation, but here would be my recommendation, if you all think this is fair, that number one, we get that job description, Mayor. That would be on you, and HR, if you want to put that on them too. To write that, what that would look like from now until whenever several mayors out, and that we go through the process of hiring the COO. And once that person is offered a salary, and I'll throw out $85,000, but it could be $92,000, then we come back and we have a combined meeting of general committee and finance committee to really massage this thing and get it down to where we want it, and then bring it before the board. And hopefully that could be done, I think, by the end of the March is kind of a target date on all this. So I would make that into a form of a motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
All right. Anyone want to speak to the motion?
Sure.
Mayor?
This motion is not what voters want.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
This motion is not what voters have asked for. They've asked for the salary of the mayor to be restored. This motion does not go along with that.
Well, the salary to the mayor may be restored, but the motion, I think, does go along with it. I would think that the voters would want due diligence done by this committee or anybody else when it comes to the finances of the committee. So, Mr. Campbell, you had your hand up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. During the election, I heard a lot of people saying, well, ever since we've had a CA in place, or we're looking for the CA, I heard even on election day, had people come up to me and saying, we don't need a CA. We don't need to pay for a CA or anybody like that. just needed to pay our mayor and let him do his job and or her job at the time because it was election day that day. Didn't know exactly who would win that race at that time. So I mean, there are some things to work through here. The pay of two different individuals, based on the conversations that I had from a lot of people, a lot of emails that came to me from people telling us not to pay for a CA. We're going to turn right around and flip it to a COO, and then we're fine with paying that person. So yeah, I think we need to study that a little bit harder too, because I've heard quite a few people tell me didn't need to pay for a CA. We're going to just have that conversation, then you might as well apply that to the COO. Is my opinion for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cunningham, I would just ask you, are you good with that part of the motion to have a combined meeting here in the near future?
Yes, I'm good with that motion and thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me repeat the motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
what are you bringing up that we in our previous meeting about this subject, what are you bringing out that we have not already discussed and voted on? Maybe I'm missing something here.
Well, we haven't discussed a job description for the mayor since it switched from the present, what it was 2 years ago. And we've assigned most of that to the CA and COO, upcoming COO. And we haven't established a salary yet for the COO. So, I mean, that will be done, I think, here in the near future, according to the process that we're working through. So those two things, basically.
I thought the salary was already discussed and approved back at one of our meetings.
The baseline of 85,000 was approved, but that particular grade, and I was the one that asked that question, I believe goes to about $120,000. So that means the mayor could hire someone in between those figures. He could offer him $90,000 if he want to. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, let's vote on this because we got 2 or 3 more things. All in favor of the motion?
Alderman
Yes.
Brown?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Sorry, I didn't know if you saw my hand raised.
I did not.
I have a question or two for the mayor.
Okay.
That's okay. Mayor, how long do you think it's going to take I know the applications will be finalized, I believe, on Friday. Is that right?
Yes.
How long do you think it'll take to decide on a candidate for that position?
My intention is by the end of March.
Okay. You don't think it's going to be prior to, before that? So that we
I
can,
hope it is.
so that we can hasten this process and get your, salary all straightened out and their salary all straightened out and then move forward. I just wanted to get an idea of the timeline.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Free, you're waving. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chairman Brown, if you wouldn't mind restating that motion.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Okay.
My motion would be to ask the mayor, assisted by HR, if the mayor would like that, to complete a mayoral job description that's completely separate from the COO, what the mayor will be doing. And I don't care about knowing the minutia, I mean, just as a whole. And once that is done, get that back to the committees, Finance Committee and General Committee. And once we hire COO and establish that salary, then we will come together in a combined meeting, General Committee and Finance Committee, to discuss those items and make adjustments. And that's basically it in the salary or the job description.
Thank you.
That's probably way too many words, but I know as a planner that you can get that down and chop some of those out and make it read right. So, all right, all those in favor of the motion, please say yes when your name is called. Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Mr. Waters,
No.
and I would be a yes, so that passes 2-1. Okay, thank you. Item number 4 on your list, ordinance rezoning Anderson Hill, has been pulled. It will not be discussed. The next item, resolution 2021-05, resolution appointing interim chief of operations. I've been told by one of the sponsors it's been pulled. Is that true, Mayor Clary?
Certainly we can discuss it. It's not, I'm going to withdraw it from the board meeting, but we need to go ahead and discuss it at the general committee.
I would prefer not to discuss it at general committee if we're not going to go to the board meeting on it. So,
Okay.
the next is a resolution amending the personnel rules regarding leave related to probationary employees. Mr. Hayes is the sponsor on that, but I see Mr. Taylor's on here. And does anybody want discussion on it? Or Chris, I think you just need to tell us what this is, would be the best thing. Mr. Taylor.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if Mr. Hayes wanted to say anything or not, and we got to
Go ahead.
we got to this item a little quicker than I was expecting, so I'm just trying to get organized. This is for the the leave related to probationary employees. By the way, for this one and the next one related to the workers' comp light duty policy, a couple weeks ago I emailed all department heads and managers and asked for their input. And at this time, I have received absolutely zero negative feedback on either of these items. This item essentially is just a real quick one, allowing us some more flexibility and competitiveness regarding probationary employees. Right now, on the resolution, basically, what you don't see is what's important, and we've basically removed the 4 or 5 words that talk about probationary employees cannot take leave while on probation. We are removing that, and we're basically saying that if a probationary employee has leave on the books, then we support them taking that leave as long as they go through their departmental process and get approval. I don't want to get too much into it. I certainly have got some reasonable examples if anybody cares to hear them, but I think you guys are going to find this one's a pretty easy one. Hopefully will help us recruit and have some flexibility with some of our new hires.
Any discussion?
Move approval.
Second.
Move to approve resolution 2021-06, amending personnel rules and regarding leave related probationary employees. Please answer in the affirmative or the negative when your name's called. Mr. Waters.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
I am also yes. It passes 3-0. The next is resolution 2021-07, a resolution adopting a revised workers' compensation light duty policy for the city of Hendersonville and repealing resolution 2004-25. Mr. Taylor just stated that he had asked for any input from department heads. He had none. Employees had none. Anyone want to speak to this, ask questions of our HR director?
Mr. Chairman, I can only bring up I spoke to the workers' comp division in Nashville. Mrs. Perry, y'all may know her. She's a resident out here in Hendersonville. And everything it's in this resolution presented to us, I ran it by her and she thought it was a good idea. I think it's a good idea and I highly recommend it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, seeing no more discussion, please answer in the affirmative or the negative when your name's called. Mr. Waters.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
I'm also yes. That passes 3-0. I think most of you got an email this week on board liaisons. This is from December. It's time we get this done because we have committees and boards that are meeting without liaisons. So I went down that list yesterday and today and looked at it. We had, and here's the way it looks to me. Mr. Skidmore and Mr. Waters never turned in a request. So
Don't believe I got one, Mr. Chairman, but I may have got it, but I don't remember it, but that's okay.
Okay. But here's what this looks like. We have 10 spots that we need to appoint someone to as a liaison. I'm going to go down this list and then you all can discuss it, and I will go down slowly. Board of Adjustment and Appeals. Miss Dixon, kind of being one of the new kids on the block, drew the short straw. So I have her listed for that. No one else requested it. So I don't think there'll be any argument over that unless Mark or Mr. Waters want to fight to be on the Board of Adjustment and Appeals.
No, Lord, no.
The Arts Council had no one requested it. Ms. Collins and Ms. Cunningham both had requested the Personnel Board. And Ms. Collins also had requested as her second choice, the Municipal Board of Zoning Appeals, which Mr. Campbell's on, and he wanted to stay there. So I have down here that Ms. Collins drew the second short straw and have her down for the Arts Council. Going down to the Beer Board, Mr. Edwards asked to stay on that. Ms. Dixon did request to be on there as her first choice, but we've already established the fact that she drew the short straw. And by the way, she's okay with being on the Board of Adjustment Appeals. So I propose to leave Mr. Edwards on the Beer Board. The Disability Board, Ms. Petrelli, that was first choice of hers. No one else requested that, so I recommend her for that. Golf Course Commission, Ms. Roberson's already on there. No one else requested that, so recommend that. Mr. Hayes, Industrial Development Board, no one else requested that, so he is there. Mr. Campbell, for whatever reason, wants to stay on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I guess he likes punishment, so I'm going to recommend that he stays there. The Parks Board, I requested that. No one wanted that, so I'm putting myself in the Parks Board. And the Personnel Board, I have down as Ms. Cunningham. We also have a representative to Planning Commission that we've already elected and put on there. That would be Mr. Lee. That would be quite or Mr. Peterson. It would be quite unfair to him to ask him to serve on anything else. So that being said, I don't have Mr. Skidmore or Mr. Waters assigned to any of these committees because there's only 10 spots and there's 12 of us. So
I feel like a stepchild again.
well, are okay. We put you on the Board of Adjustment Appeals. There could be two of it. So,
No, that's okay. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
I'm sure you'll get your 2 cents there in wherever you need it to get in, Mr. Waters.
I'm holding back.
Okay.
We got time. Thank you.
All right, sir. So if there's any disagreement, Mr. Free,
Yeah, I don't disagree. What about the Deer Herd Monitoring Committee, the Historic Zoning Commission?
well, the Deer Herd Monitoring Committee is appointed by the mayor.
Okay. And then I think the Historic Zoning Commission may be too.
Historic Zoning Commission. Mr. Waters, how about that?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
The Historic Zoning Commission. Mr. Free thinks we need to put somebody on there.
It doesn't meet very often.
You good with that?
No, sir. If I can't have the beer board, I want nothing.
Come on, Mr. Waters.
And Rush won't let me get on that. Okay.
All right, put Mr. Waters down for that. That's good.
Thank you, Mr. Waters.
I'm gonna tell my wife on you.
Okay. All right, that sounds
Okay.
good. I've been told on before. So anyway, this is something we need to get done. So
Send me an email. Let me know what I'm on, will you?
I will. Keith, I will get this to you again and we'll go over it. But I want to make sure this gets on our next board meeting this month so we can affirm and confirm all these positions where people can start meeting.
Chairman Brown,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make it quick. I'm still having hand muting issues. The Deer Committee technically does not have a liaison. That's what I was told 2 years ago. So somebody probably needs to get to the bottom of that and find out if we have a liaison or not. Thank you.
Okay. We can always put Mr. Skidmore on there since he's
Do
the
they-
only one left.
Mr. Chairman, do they even have a
Just
committee now?
volunteer.
Mr. Chairman, is there such thing as a deer committee now?
I think there is a deer committee, but I think there's only one or two folks on it. And
Okay.
again, that is a Mayor Oil. Mr. Mayor appoints those folks. That's a good question to bring up with him in this report, and I'll do that. Where we go from here with the deer committee, because we certainly have a lot of deer. They need it. They need a committee to ride herd on them per se. All right, we'll have this before the board on our next meeting in February. That is the end of our agenda. So I hear a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Mr.
Second.
Waters motion, Mr. Hayes second. Mr. Waters, yea or nay?
Yes, go.
Go. Mr. Hayes,
Yay.